Whether you are looking for business opportunity in the agro or agri-business sector, both are correct, or you're looking for opportunities in tech, or you're looking for opportunities in services, professional services, or you're looking for opportunities anywhere, opportunities are all around you. And then in the past couple of days, we've been looking at opportunities in agro-business. The opportunities are limitless because the value chain, the agro value chain is perhaps the largest value chain you can think about, because every single human being alive interacts with the agro value chain every single day. All the 8 billion of us alive interact with the agro business value chain, with agriculture value chain every single day of our lives. You're eating food, or you're taking some pharmaceutical product, or you're rubbing creams, or you are wearing some cotton shirt. Many ways, our lives are touched by the agro business, agro value chain every single day. So that is one of the places you find incredible opportunities. Now, the other thing I want to establish is that it is more important for you to have a level 2 skill in a level 10 opportunity than for you to be a level 10 person in terms of your skills and talents, and then you're dealing with a level 2 opportunity. So let me explain that. So you might be very highly qualified in your discipline. You might be very, very highly qualified, but your business is established in a sector that's got no demand. Your business is established in a sector. I'm just thinking about a very practical example. So in Nigeria, for instance, we have so many graduates, people who graduated from the universities 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, and they are struggling. These are very brilliant people. Some of them made first class, and then they studied such disciplines as humanities, sociology, library science, all those courses. Now, these individuals are very brilliant. They are talented. They may even have first class, but they don't have job. Why? Because they are in areas that are not level 10 opportunity. The same thing with business people. You might actually be a very well-trained pharmacist. You have your pharmacy license. You are really a very thorough professional. And you decide that in your community pharmacy practice, you establish your pharmacy in a certain location where there's very limited foot traffic, and also where the people are too poor to afford the drugs. So you will struggle, not because pharmacy is a bad business, not because community pharmacy is weak or anything wrong with it, but because you are in a level 2 opportunity. You are in a level 2 opportunity. So it's always good for you to think in terms of opportunity. So one of the questions that the late Jim Rohn asked us was, he said that at any moment in time, you should ask yourself, have I found that opportunity that will take care of me and my family for the rest of my life? In fact, I would like everyone to pause and type that question. That's one of the questions that actually changed my life. And when you finish typing it, I will tell you the follow-up question. Remember, today we are dealing with how to recognize, how to pinpoint opportunities in agribusiness using a framework that I developed that I'm going to share with you. So now, that question that Jim Rohn asked, I want everyone to type it in the comment section. Have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? Type it, everyone. Have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? I mean, if you ask me, that is one of the most important questions that anyone who wants to be great and who wants to be successful, it's a question to keep at the front burner of your mind throughout this year and next year and 3 years and 5 years until you find an answer to that question. Have you found the opportunity? Type it, everyone, type it in the comment section. I want it to come from your own hands, from your own fingers. Have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your lives? Great. Joseph Okechi, great. That's the point, yes. Have you found the opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? Now, the follow-up question is, if you haven't found that opportunity, how many hours do you devote every single day to find the opportunity? Because come to think about it, nothing else matters actually than opportunity. Nothing else matters than opportunity. If you start working very hard and you're working so hard on very limited opportunity, you are going to exert so much energy and accomplish nothing. You know, each time I go to some of the African markets, I think I've seen this in Ghana. I've seen this, of course, in Nigeria. I don't remember if I've seen it in Tanzania somewhere. You know, I've gone to this market in Tanzania a couple of times, in Zanzibar. I forget what they call that market, but you know, in that area you find buildings that are like 500 years old. You buy all kinds of spices there, and then you buy perfumes. You know, there's a particular family from Egypt that has a perfume shop in Zanzibar. Each time I've gone to Zanzibar, I've gone to that perfume shop, you know, because they have been, according to the story that the guy told me, they've been doing that business as family business for more than 100 years and just passing it on to other people. So I don't remember seeing these people who carry load. You know, you buy things in the market and then they carry load for you. But I think it's very intense in the Mile 12 market. You find these young boys, young women, they work very hard. These guys are ripped, they are muscular, they don't go to gym. But what they do all day is when you buy things, they carry these things on their head. They carry these heavy bags on their head. You know, some of those bags are 50 kgs, 70 kg, 100 kg. They just carry them, they lift them from the market to your park. These guys work extremely hard. And many of them do it for the rest of their lives. And then they are never rich. Why? Because even though they are strong and healthy, they are working in a level 1 opportunity. So I really want you to understand how important that question is and why the follow-up question is also important. Have you found that opportunity that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? Then if you haven't found, how many hours do you devote every week to finding that opportunity? Because if you don't find that opportunity, nothing else matters. Then the second comment I'm going to make on that question before we move on to the framework is that I'll forget that in a moment. I had a temporary butterfly. Okay, so have you found the opportunity? If not, how many hours do you devote every week to finding that opportunity? Because if you're not working in that opportunity, nothing else matters. I'm going to remember that second comment I want to make about opportunity. Now, and then when it comes to opportunity, it's something you don't really want to wait for the government or wait for your uncle or wait for some big uncle or big aunt to find for you. Opportunity is what you have to find for yourself. Because how many times have you given somebody some really fantastic ideas? you're really excited about this. You can see opportunities around them. You can see what they can do, but they are just blind to it. Not once, not twice. I'm showing people like incredible opportunities around them based on their gifts, based on their talents. And at the end of it, they don't see it. Because opportunity is something you see from within yourself. It's not something somebody else would have to vaccinate your mind and then give you. So it is important to always think about opportunity, because nothing else matters but opportunity. Okay, I remember the comment I wanted to make, the second comment. So, you are only one opportunity away from becoming a billionaire. But the interesting thing is, you don't know what that one opportunity is. Dangote is what he is today. But when he started, he didn't do the cement thing, which he has, the cement businesses, manufacturing that he has in different countries. That's not what he started with. When he started, he didn't start with building an oil refinery that cost, I forget the amount of money, so don't kill me. I think it's $20 billion or $12 billion, something like that. That's not where he started. And then where he is right now, the same thing with this other Nigerian gentleman called Arthur Eze in oil. That's not what he started with. But this one opportunity, even if Dangote doesn't do anything else, and then he just focuses on this refinery, the guy is made for generations. So you are just one opportunity away from becoming a billionaire. Same thing with me. Same thing, and I'm constantly looking around for that opportunity. And while looking for that single $1 billion opportunity, I don't fold my hands. Solomon said, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. Because in the grave where you are going, there's no skill, there's no opportunity for knowledge, there's no opportunity to try out these things here. So you've got to be on the go until you find that opportunity. So now, what we are doing tonight is to say, what is that one opportunity? Could that opportunity be in agriculture? Remember, we've talked about the financial markets. For some of you, that might be where that opportunity is. We are also talking about agro-business today. For some of you, that might be where that $1 billion opportunity is. Because I know people, I know at least two ladies from the western part of Nigeria. All they are doing, all they are thriving and prospering on is shea butter. It's shea butter trade. And now they have started importing. And they also make creams. They don't need to do a second thing. There are people that is just cassava. That's it. There's a woman who had gone through the Stanford Seed Program. Okay, that, Stanford Seed Program. She is into cassava. That's just cassava farming. She is multi-millionaire. She's got worldwide influence. They've literally invited her to anywhere that matters because of her incredible success in just cassava. So many times you may not really need to do too many things. It might just be one opportunity. One opportunity. And then in that opportunity, even this year, you might just be one order away. One order away. I guarantee you that if you have $2 million worth of palm kernel oil today, you will make $2 million in 1 month. So I'm emphasizing opportunity. If what you are doing is not a level 10 opportunity, find ways to transit to something that's a level 10 opportunity. Like the things I'm going to discuss, the framework I'm going to discuss with you tonight. You can use it in your job, you can use it in agriculture, you can use it in logistics business, you can use it in anywhere, import, export business. So let's take a look at the framework. But before then, as usual, take a moment. If you haven't pressed that love button, please do so. And then take a moment, take the next 5 seconds to share this. Share this, okay? And then what I would like you to do, when you press that share button, caption it, have you found the opportunity? that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. That's what you should put it there. Can you imagine how wonderful this continent, the world, is going to be if everyone is engaged in an opportunity of creating value, delivering value, capturing value? We are all serving one another in massive opportunities that can take care of all our families for the rest of our lives. Because I find it very disturbing that some people are still in their 30s and they are dependent. They are still dependent. I find it very disturbing that a 37-year-old graduate man is still living with his elder brother. Look around you, and then if you know someone like that, or you know stories like that around you, just type true in the comment section. There are people who are 37. They are still living with their elder brother, living with their sister, and they are single. There are people who are in their 40s, and they are still not self-reliant. They can't feed themselves. So if you're 41 and you're still struggling for food to even feed yourself and to feed your family, then something is not quite accurate, and you can change it. That's why I'm doing this thing I do free of charge for people who can't afford one-on-one, with me. If you're still dependent on your... In fact, there was one of my programs that a woman, she was already retired, and she used her pensions money to pay for her son, who was already 40, to attend my event. And when the guy came, you can tell that the guy was not on the driver's seat. He was not on the driver's seat of his life. Because if your mother, who is almost 70, is paying you, still sponsoring you in your 40s, paying your bills, giving you transport money, sending you pocket money, when do you want the woman to rest? It's not right. I actually want to use this opportunity to introduce the Financial Fitness Challenge. We run it 3 times in the year. The first one this year is coming up to 18th to 21st February. If you have not enrolled, do so now. This is an event I will ask you, even if you need to borrow from a bank or to borrow from a friend to attend this, please do not miss it. I mean, you can tell from the value you get free. So you can tell what it means that you spend that time with me in one room for your finances. So if you have not enrolled and then you want to know the details, the payment details, just DM me. DM me just right now and say send payment details. Just send a message to me and say send me payment details, and then I'll send you the payment details, and then you enroll for the Financial Fitness Challenge. Okay, so how do you identify opportunities? Okay, if you're the sort of person who you are curious about the steps to becoming an agro millionaire, okay, you can use the slider framework to break down it. The slider framework helps you to think through 6 crucial factors that you need to consider in order for you to make some very smart decisions and profitable decisions. All right, so this framework is called slider. Okay, everybody type slider. I'll do the same thing. Let me actually log on. Let me join the live from this other phone. Type slider. S-L-I-D-E-R. Everyone type slider. S-L-I-D-E-R. So I'm going to tell you what each of those means, and at the end of it, we will do an exercise on exactly how to apply that. Okay, so everyone type slider. And then please tell me where you're watching from as well. Tell me where you're watching from. Okay, so Godwin, I see send payment details. Actually, yeah, you can actually say if you want to enroll, you're ready to enroll tonight, take advantage of the early bird. It's actually 120,000 Nigerian naira, but the early bird right now is 100,000 Nigerian naira, approximately 100 US. And if you are watching from US, and then you want to pay in dollars, you can ask me for my Zelle account, my Zelle email account, and then I'll send that to you, and then you can pay in dollars. You can pay in any currency that you desire. Okay, so slider. So in slider, S stands for size. Okay, so if you are the type who can type very quickly, you can type them. You can just type them out as I mentioned them before we now start taking them one after the other. So S is for size, okay, and that is understanding the market size. Now the question before us is, how do we identify level 10 opportunities in agribusiness? How do we identify level 10 opportunities in agribusiness? So if you are working on a level 10 opportunity in agribusiness, it increases your chances to hit it real big, running. So there are many things to consider, because some of you are asking, may say something like, okay, I have 2 million, I have 5 million, I have 10 million. How can I invest in agribusiness? This is exactly the question I'm answering right now. So the first S stands for size, which is understanding the size of the market. The L stands for level of demand. Level of demand, okay? So that one deals with evaluating consumer needs. The I stands for investment. So calculating the costs and the returns. The D stands for development potential, all right? So that one deals with the growth opportunities. Are these things just one? Is this like a one-off opportunity, or does it have the opportunity to scale? E stands for entry barriers. So you are assessing the challenges of starting in that business. And then R stands for risks, okay? How do you prepare for potential risks? Because every opportunity comes with its risks. And then if you want to develop a very good business model or good business plan in agriculture, you must weigh in on the risk. On the risk, my elder sister planted a very rare crop. Then they hired a woman to go weed it, because they don't use herbicides and all that, just like me. So they hire someone to go weed it, and the woman did not she did not know this exotic crop, where the crop was exotic, or is exotic to that community. So she thought it was weed. That's how she destroyed these crops, slashed all of them, destroyed them. Meanwhile, these crops were like very, very huge cash crops, that my sister was already planning a lot of things, around. So in one fell swoop, it was all gone. So risks happen, even in agriculture. 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago, ginger, in northern Nigeria, ginger was hit by a particular disease. And then the harvest of ginger was incredible. In fact, it hasn't even recovered. Ginger that used to be a dime a dozen, really very, very cheap. But if you notice, like in the past 3 years, the prices of ginger just went up because the crops failed. So there are risks that you have to evaluate in going into agro-business. And in fact, not just agro-business, any business at all. All right, so let's start taking them one after the other, okay? And then after that, we will do a particular example. Okay, so let me look at my lecture notes here. I'm a university teacher, so we're used to putting down our thoughts so that we don't forget. Okay, so S is talking about the size of market, okay? So basically, you're looking at how big is this market? How big is the market, so for what you want to do? And there's hardly any crop that you mention that you can produce even enough, how much more? Producing much more than. Is it tomatoes? Is it peppers? Is it palm oil? Is it cocoa? Name a plant. Name any particular plant that you can produce enough of. So, agriculture and agro-business is already, talking about size, is already a level 10 opportunity when it comes to the size of the market. I have shown you that the agriculture value chain is extremely robust, very, very large. There's nothing you produce that the market is not large enough to take it off from you. If you're doing starch from cassava, food grade starch, or you're making fufu, or you're making gari, like the fufu I've made, it's really very small, because I'm doing it subsistence. It's basically what we use in my, bigger family. And so what's left is what I'm going to share with other families. I already have markets from around the world. People are saying from Cameroon, I want your fufu. People are saying from the US. People are saying from the UK, I have your fufu. So the size of the market when it comes to agri-businesses is huge. So that's why S stands for the size of the market. And then when you really want to put pen to paper, it's also important that you calculate the dollar. You estimate like how much that market is worth in dollars. There are also some horizontal measures that can allow you to estimate the size of the market. For instance, Nigeria spent almost $3 billion importing food. Not just all foods. I don't even know, when they break it down, it might just be mostly grains. So by the time you add fish, add all these other things that private individuals imported, you can easily get to know that the food market in one country alone is already $10 billion, okay? So the size matters. Now, so there might be, for instance, I forget one particular, in Ghana, there's this food, Ghanaians make from maize. It's actually probiotic, it's soured, and then they wrap it in some kind of leaves. So people buy that and then they eat it with peppers and things like that. So please, Ghanaians in the, just remind me what it is. I don't know why this thing is dancing in my mind. Now, but a company took that food and then made it an export commodity. By now, as of the time I was in Ghana, 2019, that Ghana food, that special food had gone round. The man had taken it to 22 countries. You could find it in 22 countries. In Europe, in North America, in different parts of Africa. And there was something that Ghanaian, there's a particular Ghanaian stew. Oh my goodness, why am I forgetting all these things? So this Ghanaian stew, they fry different kinds of peppers. And so people use it to eat rice and things like that. Oh my goodness, it's dancing in my mind. Ghanaians, help me out. There's this your stew. Yes, a diff. You're talking about, I think it's keke or something. Yeah, keke or something like that. But this particular stew that Ghanaians make, they bring different kinds of peppers and they fry them. They fry it and they package it for export, because once they finish the frying and the preparations, that thing can stay for months, if not for years, and they don't go. So sometimes the market is bigger than just the local community. Sometimes that keke, that is it keke? It's not sounding like keke, but you know what I'm talking about. That Ghanaians eat. Now there could be a very huge market for it in Cameroon, but nobody has marketed it there. All right. So get some understanding about the size of the market. Shito! Edith, thank you. Shito, how could I forget that? Shito. Yeah. In fact, I had to ask a Ghanaian lady to make a particular one for my family. This time I didn't want frying. I don't know how she made it, but we had peppers. We had green peppers in it. We had the red peppers. Then we had garlic. We had a couple of other spices, and it was really fantastic. Yes, it's called Shito. Shito has a very huge market. So I'm just telling you, these are the kind of things you ask if you want to go into an agro business. And I've already told you that agribusiness is not just going to the farm. Agribusiness also involves making things like this Shito. Shito is delicacy. You know, if you go to South Africa, you see Shito. And it all comes from Ghana. I haven't seen it. I'm not sure I've seen it in the United States, you know, in the African store, but I won't doubt that it is there. So if you take a commodity like palm oil, and you can estimate, there are ways, you know, if you join the Financial Fitness Challenge and then you want some of these specific things, how to calculate them, guesstimate them and things like that, there are formulas, you know, in finding market size. There's a top-down method, and then there is the bottom-up method of calculating market size. So it just gives you an idea about the size of market that you're already playing into. Okay, so number 2, L. Remember, we're talking about slider framework. So L stands for the level of demand. And then when it comes to demand, there are 2 things you measure. You're measuring, number 1, the strength of the demand. You know, just picture Wi-Fi. Just picture Wi-Fi, the way it operates. So if you look at your phone, you will see something like 5 concentric circles that all indicate the level of the signal strength of the Wi-Fi that you're using. So sometimes when you're very close and you're within the place, like my Starlink is directly, you know, my Starlink light is very here. So the signal, I'm looking at it on my phone, is very, very strong. Okay, so the Wi-Fi is full. Then, so you say you have 5 bars. So that's testing the strength of the signal. So it's the same thing with demand for that agro product or services that you want to start. Is it a full strength, or is the strength, you know, is it just 1 bar? If it's 1 bar, the demand is not much. If it is 2 bars, not much. 3 bars, not much. So you are going for 5 full bars, okay, in terms of the demand. So you're measuring 2 things. You're measuring the strength of the demand. How often do these people want this thing? Okay, like this 2-minute noodle, when it came into this country and then in some parts of Africa, huge strength in demand. The demand is like, I don't know what it is because I don't take it myself, you know, but I see that the demand is so high that literally every retail shop, every grocery shop has these 2-minute noodles or noodles that people, you know, just put in water, boil it, and then they use egg to sanctify it so that their conscience will, you know, sort of not disturb them. So they put egg there and maybe sprinkle a little vegetable there and eat. High demand. Okay, so you look at the strength of the demand. The second thing you look at when it comes to the level of demand is the consistency. Is the consistency. Is it something that sells in January and doesn't sell again until the next January? Or is it something that the demand is high right now, but it's not going to continue that way? So you're measuring strength and you're measuring consistency when you talk about level of demand. And one of the things I find very interesting, you know, when it comes to level of demand, if you use an example, for instance, you know, organic, or like organic food, you can tell that the strength is very organic food and plant-based proteins. You can tell that the strength of eating organic food, the demand is high. especially if you can demonstrate to the market that it's actually organic. Okay, you didn't use pesticides, you didn't use artificial fertilizers, you didn't use herbicides, and then you can prove that. You can actually command sometimes 3 times, 4 times, 6 times the price of the regular. And then if you do go to some stores in the United States, you'll find that the organic tomatoes, while you might be buying the regular tomatoes, you might buy them for, say, a little, I don't know how much a kg is right now, so I'm just going to give a hypothetical example from what I've experienced in the US. So if you buy the regular, say $3.99, you're going to buy the organic like $14.99. You're going to buy it that expensive. So that's a very, very strong, and people still go for it. People go for it. People who can afford it, they go for it. So the demand strength is very high. And there's also consistency, because people who eat organic hardly want to eat anything else. They want to consistently, buy that. Okay, so that's L. The third one is investment. Now we're talking about slider framework. So the I stands for investment. What is investment? You're trying to calculate the capital. Okay, the capital that you're going to need, the financial and resource commitments that you're going to need to start it or to grow it. So this is also how you measure what opportunity do you go into in agribusiness. So you're looking at what is the resource requirement, what is the capital, the financial, the resource requirement. Because one of the things I've noticed as a person who is into agriculture is that, especially if you're doing farming, if you are at the bottom of the value chain, you're actually the one going to the farm to cultivate and all that. What I've discovered is it won't work if you don't commit time to it. If you don't commit the required time, don't go into farming. Don't go into the farming that you have to entrust to people to take care of for you. If you're not going to be involved, don't do it. You can do something at the higher levels of the agribusiness value chain. So you can do processing, you can do distribution, you can sell. For instance, when we start producing our palm oil, you might decide to be a distributor, for it. Instead of you going to be the one planting that thing, doing it from your urban city, from the place you're living, is very difficult. But it's massive. If you can find a trusted supplier in the village, supplying you in town, and then you're selling to your colleagues in the office. You're working in a multinational, and you have 5,000 employees in that building and all that. Do you know? Or you have a cooperative. Do you know what it means that you're supplying your cooperative? I was part of Chevron cooperative when I worked with Chevron. I was part of Shell cooperative. Shell had 3 cooperatives when I was a Shell staff. So we had Coop East, based in Port Harcourt. We had Coop West, based in Warri, and then we had Coop Lagos. 3 of them. And then as the Shell staff, you can belong to 3 of them if you want. So I did belong to Coop East, and I did belong to 3 of them. So can you imagine? And those people make turnovers in the hundreds of millions every year and billions now. So can you imagine that in your cooperative, that you're supplying them premium palm oil from the village? So you are not the one even processing it. You are the one just capturing the value between distribution, between the manufacturing and distribution. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. So you have to calculate the resources in terms of the money and also the time commitment. Because what I've also discovered about agro businesses, it requires commitment. At least in the initial period, it requires commitment. It requires presence of mind. It's not something, and I'm warning you, it's not something you can stay in the US and have somebody do for you. There in Cameroon or in Ghana or in Nigeria. It requires that commitment. So you have to think in terms of that. So that is I. Okay, so you're measuring the capital requirements. You're also measuring the return on investment. Okay, an example is comparing backyard farming with large-scale agro processing. All right, so given the time you have in your work and things like that, do you have that kind of commitment to do large scale, or can you just start with your backyard farming? Okay, so D now stands for development potential, and what that is dealing with is what are the opportunities for innovation? What opportunities do you have for innovation? Just give me a second. What's happening? Okay. Now, do you have opportunities, for instance, to apply technology to what you're doing? Okay. For instance, in my case, when we start our production, our local production and manual production, I intend to set up live stream of the entire process. So people from all over the world will see how my villagers make oil, make our own oil. They don't add any chemical to it, nothing. And then when you taste that oil, I guarantee you, you will not want to taste any other oil, because there are different grades of palm oil. So now that's an opportunity to use, to innovate, to use technology to add to agribusiness. All right. So you're asking, can this thing grow? Basically, can it grow? Is it something that's going to be draining your resources, or is it something that is actually going to add to it? Okay. So one example of innovation is adding value to cassava by turning it into flour or turning it into starch, which we are also doing, or exploring eco-friendly farming or tech-driven solutions like precision farming. Okay, I saw some bit of precision farming in Colorado, both in farm animals and also in plants, where people actually use artificial intelligence kind of thing, to determine how much nutrients and water that plants need and when they need it. And then they're able to just release those things at particular time. Those who do, I believe it's called hydroponic farming, will also understand what I'm talking about. And then hydroponic farming is something you can also do in the cities. So you are asking, D means development, okay? Identifying growth opportunities, how you are going to scale that thing, how you are going to start it, and then how you are going to scale it. E stands for entry barriers. So you are thinking about the restrictions, the competitions, the government policies to entry. When you talk about competition, you are asking this particular niche that you want to go into. How easy is it for other people to get into it? How easy, how hard? Yeah, somebody just mentioned hydroponic and aeroponic farming. How easy? What's the entry barrier? Is it something that other people can easily flood? Because the challenge that we have sometimes in this part of the world is that once someone in the neighborhood goes into something and appears to be doing well, everybody starts that. There was a time it was fish farming. I remember it was fish farming craze everywhere in Nigeria, because somebody started fish farming in the neighborhood, made lots of money. The very next few weeks, everybody started doing fish farming because the entry barrier was particularly low. Entry barrier, or you just need a little drum with water and a means of aeration, and then some food to give the fish. So everybody went into it. But there are some others that the entry barrier is very high and you're really specialized. Like if you start making food grade cassava starch, that's not what everybody can do. It's going to be very, very difficult. So the entry barrier is high. So that is what you're going to consider. And then some of them also require some kind of government approvals or certifications. How easy is it to get those things? Like someone was asking me, in Nigeria we have what we call NAFDAC certification or something like that, which in the US is equivalent of FDA, Food and Drugs Administration. I don't know what it is in Europe, but there are similar certifications and bodies and inspections that you have to go through for you to be able to make something that people eat. So that might be an entry barrier because it's very challenging, to be able to do that. Okay, so that's entry barrier. The R now stands for risk. Risk. So you've got to sit down and look at the risk profile of that business, of that agro business you want to do. There are so many. Don't be blinded to the risks. The risks are there. I did farm yam. The distance from that place to harvest it in the farm to where I have created a barn is enormous. The road is incredibly bad, and I didn't really think it mattered that much when I was doing that. But until now that it is harvest is extremely difficult. The road is impassable, and during rainy season, even though I have a four-wheel drive truck, the access to that place is so difficult. There have also been experiences of theft. So you cultivate plantain there, and then the villagers go there, they cut it when it's ripe, and you're not there, they cut it. So you see something that you planted and waited for 15 months, for 2 years, they start fruiting, and then the villagers go cut it. So the risks are there, and it's the risks that will now let you decide, should I now go to farm plantain, or should I rather process plantain? Should I rather buy from the farmers and then add value to it by processing it and turning it into flour, which is so rich? Plantain flour is very rich. So you might not, so you save yourself the risks and the headaches of going to those forests in Benin, in Cameroon, the thick forest in Ghana to plant plantain. So all you want to do is buy from the farmers, process it, even in the town. That's why I'm telling you that you can participate in the city, in the agricultural value chain. So you can process it there because you have weighed the risks and decided that that's a better thing to do. There is also the risk of market volatility. Even though in the past 2 years, there's hardly been any agricultural product that people planted and then they lost anything. Whether you're talking about food, somebody just said watermelon bay. Watermelon bay. I was just about to talk about watermelon and I saw watermelon bay. Okay, so nothing, whether it's watermelon or it's okra, because if you go to the market like I do, because I'm a researcher, I'm a business opportunity researcher, you will see that these things, the market volatility always favors the farmers. You hardly plant these things and lose for some reason. You hardly plant them and lose. But it's important to think about that, because if there is glut, I'm just saying that we've not experienced glut in recent times, glut of food stuff. You go to the market, every day you go, the thing becomes more expensive. So there was a new term that they coined last year or 2 years ago. They call foodflation. Foodflation. So, but those are risks you want to consider. You also want to consider climate and then operational risks. What do I mean by that? Last year and 2 years ago, in fact, a couple of years ago, some farmers, unfortunately, in a particular part of the country, took their lives because the rice harvest, they had massive flood. They had massive flood, and then the flood destroyed their farms. destroyed, and people who had borrowed money, taken facilities and cultivated hectares of rice farm, everything was submerged. So I remember a particular farmer who just couldn't take it anymore, and then he unfortunately took his own life. So those risks exist because of the climate. Last year, harvest wasn't too good in some parts of the country because the rains delayed in coming and many people lost their crops. If there's a farmer here and then you understand what I'm talking about, just confirm, just say, type true. So many people lost crops. Those who planted yam at the normal time lost the yams that they planted because the rains delayed in coming. So they would typically plant in March and then against the rains in April. But the rains did not come in March, it didn't come in April, it didn't come even in May, and I think it was getting into June. So those risks exist in the agro business, and you need to sit down, categorize them. There are also financial risks, all kind of risks. So you want to understand the risk profile. Okay, so finally, let's use an example to just tie it down. Let's use an example of someone who wants to go into poultry farming, for instance. So S stands for size. There is a growing demand for eggs and chicken meat among urban populations. A lot. I did not know until recently that chicken in last year, over the Christmas period, over December period, that chicken sold for 35,000 naira. It's unheard of. That's how much we used to buy goats. That's how much we used to buy goat. One chicken, 35. Eggs, a crate of eggs. The last time I bought a crate of eggs was 5,800 naira, 6,500 in some places, even 7,000, 8,000 in some places. Okay, so in terms of size, there's growing demand for eggs and chicken meat in the cities among the urban population. All right, number 2, level of demand. You can think about poultry as consistent. It's not only strong, it is consistent. Why? Because it is a staple. As a protein, it is a staple in diets. Get into any restaurant. If they don't have anything, they will have chicken. Because there's some people enter there, do you have chicken? Do you have fish? So the level of demand is very, very consistent. There's not going to come a time that people will stop eating chicken. Number 3, think about investment. The investment has moderate startup costs because there's so many ways you can actually start your poultry. You don't have to start with massive constructions and things like that. You can actually start with free ranging, like my neighbor does in their compound. So you can actually start with a moderate startup cost, and then as you gain as a customer, as you gain more customers, as you gain more sales, and then as you gain more knowledge and skills and technology. Because when you start things like that, especially if you're the first times farmer, you don't want to put in all your investment. You want to do it like a pilot, because there's going to be time to learn. Okay, so as you do that, you can now scale it from a small to a large business. Okay, so how about D, the development potential? There are opportunities in organic chicken, valued added products like frozen chicken. My friend and brother Amos and his wife do organic chicken. They feed the chicken very natural things. They give the chicken aloe vera water to drink, which keeps it healthy. They don't vaccinate the chicken. They don't use any vaccine. They give the chicken insects, and then they allow the chicken to roam around as well. Now, Amos usually has more demand that they can meet. More demand that they can meet. I currently have some of his chicken because we got some over the Christmas because it's organic. currently have some in my freezer here. Roasted. Very, very sweet. The organic chicken tastes different from the poultry chicken. Okay, so there is a huge opportunity for organic chicken if you want to go into that. And if people do 10,000 birds for and then you do 1,000 or 1,500 birds organic, you are going to make more money than the 10,000 people. You're going to make more money because people who know that you're doing organic farming are willing to pay 3 times, 4 times, 5 times what they pay for the regular vaccinated and then chemicalized chicken that people eat. Okay, then in terms of entry barriers, it's limited. The entry barrier is low. It's not difficult. It's not too high for small scale. All right, it is higher, much higher if you want to do large scale operations, and then you want to do it on like one of my clients in Ibadan, though their poultry farm is in Osun State, but they have an office where the compound feeds, in Ibadan. Their poultry stands on 180 acres. It's very, very massive. Very, very massive. So the entry barrier is higher if you are going that massive. But if you are starting up, it's limited. It's limited. Okay, and then risk. The risk would be diseases like the bird flu. There's also price volatility in feed costs. That's a major input, the feeds. So the prices go up. It affects your operational costs. So this is a way you think in terms of the opportunities in agribusiness, and then how you're going to make a decision as to what agribusiness to go into in order to become an agribusiness millionaire or agro-millionaire, like we discussed yesterday. All right, so we're going to begin to wrap it up, and as usual, I want every one of you to tell me what your aha moment was today, in today's session. What was your aha moment? What opened your eyes today? What are you going to learn more about? What are you going to do as a result of what you've learned tonight? And while I'm doing that, if you are yet to enroll in the Financial Fitness Challenge, just type in the comment section, send me payment details. I'm going to respond to you. Or you DM me, and then I will send you the payment details to take advantage of the early bird registration. The price is 100,000 Nigerian Naira, approximately $100. And then when you join the group after payment, you're going to get more details and then get some more bonuses. All right. What are your aha moments? Everyone, type in the comment section. And then when you type your aha moment, please do let me know where you join us from. I want to know the countries represented here. Just let me know the country that you have watched from. Type your aha moment and then mention the country that you've joined us from. And I'm going to read it. Okay, so let me go through a few comments while you type your aha moment. Okay, Honorio Day says, till this date, they are bringing eggs, fish from Ibadan to Warri. It's incredible. It's incredible, my brother. It's incredible. Okay, and then Friday says, yes, very true. My watermelon suffered. Yes. Those, and then Former said, my tomatoes. Very, very true. The risks are very, very real. I really need to know about it. Oh, okay. So, already you're actually a watermelon boy. Very good. You're a commercial watermelon farmer. You farm 50 acres every year. Fantastic. I like to be in the same room with people like you. Very, very good. Okay. King Buchi, I like the way you put it. King Buchi says, the economy is bad, but nobody will eat stone. So that makes agriculture gold. Fantastic. I'm going to steal that quote. It's fantastic. Fantastic. The economy is bad, but nobody will eat stone. That makes agriculture the gold. Yes, I agree with you, because I have been saying for many years right now that the next set of, before what's unfolding right now in agribusiness started unfolding, I said it 3, 4, 5 years ago, that the next set of multi-billionaires in the developing countries are going to be farmers. And people didn't take it serious. But I like the way you put it now, that no matter how bad the economy is, people won't eat stones. They will still eat food. Meaning, you are in a business sector that is not going away anytime soon. So I like that. Thank you. More comments. Okay, Far Beyond summarized it for us. Yeah, sorry to hear that. So climate change destroyed watermelon farm last year. Yeah, the sun was, too hot. The heat was so much, and then the rains delayed in coming. I experienced it myself, in my farm. The interesting thing is that the cassava, I did cassava, I did yam. My yam probably suffered a little bit, but cassava is very resilient. Cassava is very resilient. Isaiah says, what are the opportunities in pork business? A lot. People travel from all over the country and from outside. If you're watching from Warri, confirm what I'm telling you. To come to Warri, they go to Warri to buy pork. It was when I consulted for a client in Agribusiness that I discovered that pork, there's not enough pork in this country. Before that time, I didn't even know that people eat pork like that. Pork is consumed mightily in this country. There's not enough pork. Okay, Gama Obed says, I'm watching from Gabon. Okay, I'm only one opportunity away from becoming a billionaire. Fantastic. That's your aha moment. Okay, Obajobi says, my aha moment was knowing that one can actually organically vaccine your chicken with aloe vera water. Oh yeah. So and I can connect you to, I think there's a community. If you actually look for them, you'll find them. There's a community into organic farming. They have a WhatsApp group and they share all these things that they do. So they give things like aloe vera, bitter leaf water, and all kinds of things to this chicken. They don't have they don't have our tongue. They take it. They take aloe vera and it cleanses their system, makes their meat very, very sweet. All right, so that's your aha moment. Okay, so this is where we are going to draw the curtain tonight. It's been a pleasure. Tomorrow, we are going to extend the conversation a little bit more and then talk about the agro value chain, and then we will look at how city dwellers can join the agro revolution, because I don't want it to be a reason, an excuse anymore that you live in the city, therefore you cannot participate in the agro-millionaire revolution that we are in now. Gone were the days that you say, oh, I live in the city, so I can't farm. It's no longer that way. There's a whole lot you can do in the city. There are urban farming innovations. Plus, you can also process, some of these things for people in the city, and you can't even do enough. Okay, you can't even do enough. Okay, all right. So, I'm going to see you exactly this same time tomorrow. So, whatever happens, keep showing up, because you have no idea what's coming your way next. And I'll talk to you soon. Good night.